Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a really sad video. I've been following this case from the beginning, and I'm extremely upset right now about what's happening. I mean, everything in the world feels like it's just going down the drain. It's really sad. I'm going to go over a timeline just for people who don't know about this. That way you could kind of get an idea of why I feel the way I do at the end. But today, Gannon's body was found in Pace, Florida, and was identified as him, and he's deceased. And it's very, very upsetting. This whole situation is so sad. My heart goes out to his family and all the people who lost him. You know, he was a kid, and no kid ever deserves to die, ever. There's never a good reason for that. So we're just going to go through the timeline so you guys understand, and then at the end we're going to talk about how this doesn't make any sense and how I really think that there is a second person involved in his murder. So let's just get into it. I have notes here because I've memorized the whole story, but now that I'm kind of emotionally upset, I'm going to read all the notes that I've written since this started so everything makes sense and is coherent, and try to not be so emotional throughout the reading of all this stuff. Okay, so on January 27th, Gannon was reported missing by his stepmother. She told the police that he had left their house at 3:15 p.m. and walked to a friend's house. He had stayed home from school that day because he was sick. That morning they had went to a Petco together. That's basically what she said. He's gone now. He's missing. We don't know why. He probably ran away. So he's reported as a runaway at first, and then later he's reported as missing or endangered because of the weather conditions. Someone of his age would be in danger if they were outside in this weather. So on February 3rd, Letecia Stauch, his stepmother, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I say his last name different every time, so I'm really sorry about that. But she starts responding to Facebook posts where people are saying that, you know, she's definitely guilty after she did this interview, and she's like responding to people like, I'm not guilty, I've taken care of him for blah blah blah, like I'm a good stepmom to him, I didn't do anything, I would never hurt him. And then on February 4th, a neighbor comes forward with security footage. Now this security footage, and listen, I'm going to link down below a YouTuber who has done this whole thing, and you should really watch those videos if you're interested. I'm just doing a basic overview so I can get to the part at the end so you guys understand what I'm talking about without having to leave and come back. So the neighbor shows footage where around like 10 o'clock in the morning, Gannon and Letecia get into their truck. Gannon is seen to be very sluggish and behaving kind of like he was drugged. He's put into the truck, they go to the Petco, he stays in the car, and then all of a sudden, he never comes back home later. And there's some other things in between those things. I really suggest watching another video to get through everything. This is just a basic overview like I said. But when she comes back home, he isn't there. She gets home at like 2 o'clock and Gannon's not in the car with her, or the truck. And she had told police, not knowing that the video camera was next door, that he did come home with her, and that at like 4 o'clock he went and walked to a friend's house, which never happened. So between that time and then February 28th, a lot of people came forward and had tips and all sorts of things, and people are trying to help, people are trying to find Gannon. His mom and his dad, who aren't together, so his biological dad, who is married to Letecia, and then his mother, his biological mother, plea on TV asking for their son back. They're obviously upset. They've lost, I mean, a child. I can't even imagine. I can't. On February 28th, there was an arrest warrant obtained for Letecia. On March 2nd, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office announced the arrest. She was being held without bond in in South Carolina, while waiting to be sent to Colorado. On the way to Colorado from South Carolina, she attacked a police officer and actually put him in the hospital. I'm not sure what his injuries were. I don't think that was ever said, but he ended up in the hospital. And then her charges before a body were even found was murder to a child under 12 by a person in trust, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with the deceased body, and tampering with physical evidence. So before they even had a body, they knew that Gannon was most likely dead. They haven't released what evidence they had because they're trying to keep the case good so they can properly, you know, police always try to keep the least amount of information to the public that isn't necessary so that they can make a good, you know, case against this person later on. On March 5th, this is when she attacks the officer and slips out of her handcuffs somehow and attacks him. So she's held in, what state was it? She was held in Kansas for 12 hours and then shipped to Colorado after because she attacked an officer. And then there's some more like court appearances and things like of that nature, but that's basically the timeline. Now, there was a phone call that she showed the police where she's like getting on to Gannon and like yelling at him, and he's obviously upset and crying. He's like, I'm really sorry. She's like, why would you drop a candle on the carpet? You ruined our carpet. We're gonna have to sell our couch now because you ruined our carpet. And Gannon's like crying, like, I'm really sorry, I'm really sorry. And she's like, tell me that you didn't do this on purpose. Tell me you didn't do this on the purpose. And then she's like, we're gonna have to get rid of the carpet. A carpet company comes out and takes it away. At one point, she says that she rented a car because she didn't want to add mileage to her truck to go door to door looking for Gannon. She went door to door looking for him and put 900 miles on the rental car. 900 miles looking for him door to door in one city. And that doesn't make any sense. And this is where I'm very confused. When did she have time to drive 40 hours, 3,000 miles from where she was to Pace, Florida? When would she have time to have made that trip? And she only put 900 miles on the car. Okay, so did she meet somebody at 400 miles, 450 miles, give them the body and they took it to Florida? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, when would she have had time to do that? Did someone else actually kill Gannon? I mean, I think this lady is guilty of sin, but did she not do it? Because that's a very far distance. Who did it? Someone else tampered with that body, because I literally do not know in this timeline when she could have possibly disappeared for 2 days, because you know she wouldn't drive 20 hours back, 40 hours. She would have to stay there and sleep at least. And if she didn't sleep, it's still 2 days. Where did she go for 2 whole days? And no one realized that she was gone? Because with the time that Gannon disappeared, like, she reported it and she didn't disappear for 2 days. So I'm so confused. I'm pretty upset about it because it just doesn't make any sense. What happened to him? Now I have way more questions now that this body has been found in a completely different state than I ever did before. I'm very upset about it. I'm so sorry for this family. Who helped her? Who? And why hasn't she given that person away unless she really loved him? And I don't want to point fingers at the dad, but I mean, something had to have happened where she had help. She had to have. And I believe with adrenaline, it's easy to move a body and like do things like that because you're so like, oh my God, I just killed somebody. Like that, I believe that happens. But how did she put him in the car, drive that far, take him out, and do all of this stuff? How did she manage to do that alone? It doesn't make sense. Now, if there's new information that doesn't agree with what I've said, because what I have said was the information that I've collected over time as it progressed, let me know, because maybe I'm wrong about something. Maybe she did have 40 hours worth of time to go back and forth, you know, maybe something like that. So if I'm wrong about anything or anything new's come out that like negates things I've said, please comment down below and let me know. This boy deserves, whoever did this to him and the people that helped this person, to go to prison for the rest of their lives. They do not deserve to live a happy life. They don't. Anyone willing to even hurt a child, not even as far as murder, to hurt a child, you're evil. If you have ever hurt a child, you are the worst type of person that there is. It does not get worse than someone who will hurt someone who's innocent. It isn't right. Thank you guys for watching. I'm just very confused. Yummy. I don't understand what's happening. I'm so sorry to the family. I'm so sorry to Gannon. Like, your life is just starting. He hadn't even got to start his life. I'm sorry about my son, but we're quarantined. I will probably do an update later on. I mean, a trial is not going to happen for a very long time. And when a trial does happen, I will talk about it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm sorry about my son.
Bye.